Hi guys, it's Richard from Bagnall and Kirkwood. So apologies for the audio on this one. I had an issue at the beginning of the video, so this part I'm having to record over the top, and then when we get further on we'll just cut back into the normal audio where the microphone started working again. So today what we're doing is we're looking at the fill valves. It's the most common leak place on these rifles, and it's for the BSA Ultra SE. It's also exactly the same filling valve on the Scorpion SE and the Ultramax. So first thing we're doing, make sure no air in the cylinder whatsoever, and we're going to remove the dust cap. And you can see just there's your normal brass filling port that you find on these guns. If you're not sure which model you've got, if it's that brass port, this is what you're going to need. And this is the video. The earlier ones were black. They are different internal. You can upgrade to the complete system at a later point if you wanted. Quite a few people do that. They just replace the hole in it, the whole outlet. We've got those on my website. So the parts that we're going to need, we've got the O-ring kit there. We've got Molykote grease. O-ring kit's a double pack as well. Here, as you can see, what we're going to do is we've got to remove this retaining collar. So in a second, you're going to see what it is. We've got some circlip pliers. It's just two little holes that you need to put it into. But I've had loads of customers that use just two pins and adjustable pliers across the top, something like that. And as you can see here, we're just removing this collar one bit at a time. Yeah, it's just quite a long thread on it, and it's about to pop out. So the audio is good from now on. I'm going to pass you back onto myself. There we go. So you see that's just a retaining collar that holds this in place, and then this one's going to come out easily. Just rotate that anti-clockwise. Sometimes you need to put a bar in there if it's been stuck in there for a long time. And we're going to remove the fill valve assembly here. So that's the assembly out there. So we're going to take a look at the internals of the valve now. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this O-ring off here. Note with the original O-ring, you can see here the O-ring only takes up about half of the space in this gap. This is the design, that's how it's supposed to be. We do get people contact us and saying that the O-ring doesn't fill up the whole gap, so it must be wrong. No, that's the way the design is. So we're going to throw away that old one. Then we're going to remove the screw off the end. So just a correct sized Allen key. Hold that in. That's going to be tight, so we're going to have to put a bar in there just to loosen that off. There we go. So that's the retaining screw there. And then see in here we've got the spring that might just tap out. Yep, tar's done. So in here you have retaining collar. You have the spring and the ball bearing. And then right in the bottom of there's an O-ring, and that's what's sealing against that ball bearing, and that's what's stopping the air going back out the cylinder after you filled it. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and use an O-ring pick, and we're going to see if that comes out. So just being very careful not to scratch the housing. That one has came out very nicely. Sometimes these can be a bit of a pain to remove, but that one's came out very nicely there. So next thing we're going to do, just going to put it back together pretty much. So we're going to take our O-ring pack. We're going to take one of the big ones, one of the small ones. Tiny, tiny, tiny amount of Molykote. Oh, that's way too much. And then what you want to do is just a little smattering on your fingers. We're going to put that one back on the outside. So there it goes. The small one we're going to drop into the place in there, and then I'm going to use the back end of this Allen key just to make sure that's properly seated in the bottom. Drop the ball bearing down, just checking it's in there correctly. Then we're going to put the collar in. Again, make sure that's seated down there properly. The spring down the middle. And then we're going to finally replace that screw. Doesn't need to be super tight. Screw back. So next point, back into the rifle. Drop it in. And you're going to have to watch out that you don't drop this in too far, because you still need to have space for your fill valve to go in and out, because the nut on it's going to catch this part here. So I tend to go back to there. If you leave it too far out, your dust cover's not going to fit on. So you've got to think about the fact you've got to put your dust cover on as well. So it needs to go a little bit further, I would say. I can feel the O-ring starting to bite there as well, so that's a good sign. We're just going to check that that would go on without the collar. Watch it well. That's it. So, let's just excuse that phone. Yep, there we go. So then, pop the collar on. No right and wrong way to that. And then again, I'm just going to use a tool just to pull that round into place. That's it there, and we're just going to give it a slight little nip, and that's it. Held in place. Make sure the cap goes back on. Which it does, all nice and neat. And that's it, all sorted. So next point, basically, go and make sure it's tested. Stick it on 24-48 hour leak test. Make sure no further leaks. That's grand. Thank you for watching. As always, I'll put the link to all the spare parts below. We've got exploded diagrams, etc. on the website as well. So if you fancy having a look, it's all there. Thanks for watching.